Good morning, class 9. Today we will start a new chapter in supplementary reader. A house is not a home. This story reflects the challenges of being a teenager and the problems of growing up. How does the author overcome his problems? My first year of high school felt awkward. After leaving junior high at the head of my class with all the seniority the upper grade levels could afford me, it felt strange starting over as a fresh man. The school was twice as big as my old school. And to make matters worse, my closest friends were sent to a different high school. I felt very isolated. So, in this first paragraph, the writer is describing about his experiences when he had to leave his old school and join a new school. His friends had joined some other school, and in this new school, he was all alone. He was a fresher. I felt very isolated. He felt lonely because it was a new school for him and he did not know anybody. I missed my old teachers so much that I would go back and visit them. So, the school is always a very fond place for children. Children love their school a lot. When they leave school, they really miss their school days. So this was the case with this boy also, the writer, who had joined a new school and he used to miss his old school, his teachers there. He used to miss them so much that he used to go back to meet them, to visit them. They would encourage me to get involved in school activities so that I could meet new people. They told me that in time I would adjust and probably end up loving my new school more than I had my old one. So, this is the way the teachers used to console the writer. They used to tell the writer that you should take part in activities in your new school, you should try to adjust, and a day will come when you will start loving your new school more than your old one. They made me promise that when that happened, I would still come by and visit them from time to time. I understood the psychology in what they were saying, but I took some comfort in it nonetheless. So the teachers tried to soothe the writer by telling him that when that day will come, when you will start loving your new school more than the old come, don't forget us. You must still keep coming and visit us in those days also. One Sunday afternoon, not long after I had started high school, I was still sitting at home at our dining room table doing homework. It was a cold and windy fall day, and we had a fire going in our fireplace. As usual, my red tabby cat was lying on top of all my papers, purring loudly. Purring loudly means making loud sounds, and occasionally swatting at my pen for entertainment's sake. So, what was the cat doing? It was sitting on the writer's papers because the writer was busy doing his work. He was not paying attention to the cat, so the cat was trying to attract his attention. She was never far from me. I had rescued her when she was a kitten, and somehow she knew that I was the one responsible for giving her the good life. That means in this paragraph the writer says that the cat loved the writer a lot because she was well aware that it was due to the writer's care that she had got such a decent life to live. The writer had brought the cat to his home when she was a small kitten, and since that time the writer had given good care to the cat, and she knew this very well. My mother kept stoking the fire to keep the house nice. Stoking the fire means she was giving air to the fire so that the fire kept on burning and the house was warm. The mother kept stoking the fire to keep the house nice and warm. Suddenly, I smelled something strange, and then I noticed it, smoke pouring in through the seams of the ceiling. The smoke began to fill the room so quickly that we could barely see. So, suddenly, what did the writer notice? The writer noticed that there was smoke all around and the house had caught fire. Groping our way to the front door, we all ran out into the front yard. Seeing that the whole house was full of flames, there was smoke all around, they started running towards the front yard. By the time we made our way outside, the whole roof was engulfed in flames and it was spreading quickly. I ran to the neighbors to call the fire department while I watched my mother run back into the house. My mother then ran out of the house carrying a small metal box full of important documents. So, why did the mother go inside? Although the whole house was engulfed in flames, but still mother immediately went inside the house because she had forgotten something. And what did she forget? She forgot a small metal box which contained some important documents. So, taking such a big risk, she went inside the house and she brought this metal box out. She dropped the case on the lawn and, in a crazed state, ran back into the house. I knew what she was after. My father had died when I was young, and I was certain that she was not going to let his pictures and letters go up in flames. So, why did the writer's mother go inside the house the second time? Because she had to bring those precious pictures and letters which were the memories of the writer's dead father. They were the only things that she had to remember him by. So, these pictures and these letters were so very special and they were so precious to the writer's mother because they were the only things that remained after his father's death. They were the only memories, and so she could not allow them to burn. Still, I screamed at her, "Mom, no." Why did the writer scream? Because the house was burning. There were flames all around, and mother was taking a big risk of going inside the house to bring those letters and pictures. I was about to run after her when I felt a large hand hold me back. It was a fireman. I hadn't even noticed that the street had already filled the fire trucks. I was trying to free myself from his grasp, yelling, "You don't understand. My mother's in there." Whom did the writer say this? The writer said this to the fireman who was trying to hold back the writer. He was not letting the writer go inside the house because it was burning very badly, and the writer would also risk his life, and that is why the fireman did not want the writer to go inside. But the writer was eagerly wanting to go because his mother had gone inside and he wanted to save her life. yelling, "You don't understand, my mother's in there." He held on to me while other firefighters ran into the house. He knew that I wasn't acting very logically and that if he were to let go, I would run. He was right. So the firefighter was very much aware that the writer was not behaving logically, because it is totally wrong, it is totally illogical to enter into such a building which is burning in flames. But he knew very well that if he will leave the writer's hand, the writer will not leave any opportunity and he will run inside the house. "It's all right, they'll get her." The firefighter consoled the writer by saying that they will bring her back. Here "they" stands for the other firefighters who were trying to extinguish the fire. "It's all right, they'll get her," he said. He wrapped a blanket around me and sat me down in our car. Soon after that, a fireman emerged from our house with my mom in tow. He quickly took her over to the truck and put an oxygen mask on her. I ran over and hugged her. All those times I ever argued with her and hated her vanished at the thought of losing her. That means the writer's mother was wounded, she was burnt in the fire, and that is why the writer forgot all those moments when he used to argue with his mother, he used to hate her sometimes, and now only one fear was there in his mind, that was the fear of losing his mother. "She is going to be okay," said the fireman. She just inhaled a little smoke, because inhaling smoke can also be very suffocating and it can also lead to a person's death. So the fireman consoled the writer by saying that she will be okay soon. She is just unwell because she has inhaled the smoke. And then he ran back to fight the fire while my mother and I sat there dazed. They both were sitting and they were watching that their house was burning in flames. I remember watching my house burn down and thinking that there was nothing I could do about it. So the writer was feeling so helpless. He was feeling that he can do nothing because he was just a small boy. He was not big enough. That is why he found himself in a helpless state and he had no other option but to sit and watch his house burning in flames. 5 hours later, the fire was finally out. Our house was almost completely burned down. But then it struck me. I hadn't seen my cat. Where was my cat? Now, you must have seen till now there was no mention of the cat because the writer was primarily worried about his mother. He was worried that his mother should be alive, there should be no harm caused to her, and in that puzzled state of mind, in that confused state of mind, he had completely forgotten that his cat was nowhere visible. Now he suddenly realizes, oh, where is the cat? I hadn't seen my cat. Where was my cat? Much to my horror, I realized that she was nowhere to be found. Now the writer was really afraid because he could not see his cat anywhere and he loved his cat very dearly. Then all at once it hit me. The new school, the fire, my cat. I broke down in tears and cried and cried. I was suffering loss, big time. So the writer found himself in a very pathetic and helpless state. He was thinking of many things recently, many new things which had happened in his life. He had to join a new school, he had to adjust there, then suddenly his house caught fire, then in that fire his dear cat is missing now. So one after the other difficulties were coming in his life, and that is why he was crying and crying bitterly. The firemen wouldn't let us go back into the house that night because the house was nearly burnt. There was nothing left, and everywhere there was smoke and there was blaze of fire. That is why the firemen did not allow them to go inside the house that night. It was still too dangerous. Dead or alive, I couldn't imagine leaving without knowing about my cat. Now, the thought that the cat was missing was haunting him, was haunting the writer, and he wanted to know where was his cat. Was his cat dead or was she alive? He wanted to see the cat in whatever state she was, whether dead or alive. I couldn't imagine leaving without knowing about my cat. Regardless, I had to go. Although he wanted to inquire where the cat was, but he was not allowed to go inside the house. That is why, at least for some hours, he had to leave that place. We piled into the car with just the clothes on our backs and a few of the firemen's blankets and made our way to my grandparents' house to spend the night. So for that night they had to leave their house, they had to leave their place and go somewhere else. Where did they go? They went to his grandparents' house. They means the writer and his mother. They carried some clothes and the blankets which were given by the firemen. The next day, Monday, I went to school. When the fire broke out, I was still wearing the dress I had worn to church that morning, but I had no shoes. I had kicked them off when I was doing my homework. They became yet another casualty of the day. So I had to borrow some tennis shoes from my aunt. Why? Because the shoes were also burnt in the fire. So the writer had to borrow the shoes from his aunt. Why couldn't I just stay home from school? My mother wouldn't hear of it, but I was totally embarrassed by everything. The clothes I was wearing looked weird. I had no books or homework, and my backpack was gone. I had my life in that backpack. The more I tried to fit in, the worse it got. Was I destined to be an outcast? Outcast means looked out of the place, looked strange, different from all people, different from all students. Was I destined to be an outcast and a geek all my life? A geek all my life means a character whom others will make fun of. That's what it felt like. Now, why the writer was feeling all this, that he was looking like an outcast and others will make fun? Because his dress looked weird. He was wearing sport shoes, tennis shoes when he went to school. He had neither books nor homework. So he was finding himself totally weird. He was feeling very embarrassed. He was feeling that he was looking like a stranger in that school, so different from other children. Was I destined to be an outcast and a geek all my life? That's what it felt like. I didn't want to grow up, change, or have to handle life if it was going to be this way. I just wanted to curl up and die. So what were the feelings of the writer at this time? He said that if life is going to be so difficult for him, if life is going to be so strange for him, then he doesn't want to live, he wants to die in some corner. I walked around school like a zombie. I walked around the school like a zombie. See, the meaning of zombie is given here: a dull and apathetic person who shows total disinterest in everything. I walked around school like a zombie. Everything felt surreal. Surreal means strange. Everything felt surreal, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. So when he went to school, when he reached school, he found himself like a dull fellow, a fellow who was disinterested in everything around him. And he also found himself strange. Everything was strange for him. He found himself also in a strange condition, in a strange position, and he found everything around him in the school also very strange. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen. All the security I had known from my old school, my friends, my house, and my cat had all been ripped away. When I walked through what used to be my house after school that day, I was shocked to see how much damage there was. Whatever hadn't burned was destroyed by the water and chemicals they had used to put out the fire. The only material things not destroyed were the photo albums, documents, and some other personal items that my mother had managed to heroically rescue. But my cat was gone, and my heart ached for her. He was feeling really pained. He was pained. He was so he was so sad. He was saddened by the thought that his cat could be seen nowhere. There was no time to grieve. There was no time to grieve means there was no time to sit and express his sorrow over what had happened. There was no time to grieve. My mother rushed me out of the house. We would have to find a place to live, and I would have to go buy some clothes for school. We had to borrow money from my grandparents because there were no credit cards, cash, or even any identification to be able to withdraw money from the bank. Everything had gone up in smoke, everything was burnt. That week, the rubble that used to be our house, rubble is that malba in Hindi we call, that rubbish which remains on the ground, that remains which we can see when any house is destroyed or burnt or whatever. That week, the rubble that used to be our house was being cleared off the lot. Even though we had rented an apartment nearby, I would go over to watch them clear away debris, hoping that my cat was somewhere to be found. So when the debris was cleared, the writer went there to watch how the debris was removed, how the remains were removed, because he had a hope in his mind that maybe he may find his cat somewhere. She was gone. I kept thinking about her as that vulnerable little kitten. In the early morning, when I would disturb her and get out of bed, she would tag along after me, climb up my robe, and crawl into my pocket to fall asleep. I was missing her terribly. Now the writer was thinking of those sweet moments when he used to trouble the cat, he used to disturb the cat, get her out of bed, and she used to crawl inside the pocket of the writer and sleep inside the pocket. It always seems that bad news spreads quickly, and in my case, it was no different. Everyone in high school, including the teachers, was aware of my plight. Everybody was aware of what had happened with the writer. I was embarrassed as if somehow I were responsible. What a way to start off at a new school. He was feeling so ashamed that he has just joined the new school, and look what news has spread. Everybody has come to know that his house has burned, everything has been lost, everything has been burnt in the fire, and he was left with nothing. What a way to start off at a new school. This was not the kind of attention I was looking for. Now the writer says to himself that I never wanted such kind of attention from my teachers in the new school, from my classmates in the new school, and he was really feeling very embarrassed and very bad about all this. The next day at school, people were acting even more strange than usual. I was getting ready for gym class at my locker. People were milling around me. That means they were gathering around him, asking me to hurry up. I thought it strange, but in the light of the past few weeks, nothing would surprise me. It almost seemed that they were trying to shove me into the gym. Shove me into the gym means push hard. I am reading this again, children. I am reading this whole paragraph again. The next day at school, people were acting even more strange than usual. I was getting ready for gym class at my locker. People were milling around me. That means they were moving around the writer in an aimless manner. Asking me to hurry up. I thought it strange, but in the light of the past few weeks, nothing would surprise me. It almost seemed that they were trying to shove me into the gym. Shove me means they were trying to push the writer somehow into the gym. Then I saw why. There was a big table set up with all kinds of stuff on it just for me. Now see why the writer was being pushed into the gym. When he went inside the gym, he saw that there was a big table and many different things were displayed on the table. Let us see what. They had taken up a collection and bought me school supplies, notebooks, all kinds of different clothes, jeans, top, sweatsuits. So what did he see? When he entered the gym, he saw that there was a big table, and what had the children done for him? How had the children of his new school helped him? They had collected lot of money, and out of that money they had bought the things which he would need in the school. They bought notebooks for him, they bought different clothes, jeans, shirt, top, sweatsuits, etc. for the writer. It was like Christmas. I was overcome by emotion. Now when he saw all these new things, it appeared that as if it was Christmas time for him. Because whenever we have Christmas or whenever we have any other festival, Holi, Diwali, Eid, Christmas, whatever, we buy new clothes, children get new things. So it appeared to the writer as if it was Christmas time for him. And he was overcome by emotion. He became emotional. People who had never spoken to me before were coming up to me to introduce themselves. That means his classmates or his schoolmates were trying to be friendly and they were trying to talk to the writer. I got all kinds of invitations to their houses. Their genuine outpouring of concern really touched me. Their genuine outpouring, that means they really wanted to help. Their concern, their way of talking to the writer, all that showed that they were really worried about him, they were really interested in helping the writer, and they were inviting the writer to come to their houses. In that instant, I finally breathed a sigh of relief and thought for the first time that things were going to be okay. I made friends that day. A month later, I was at my house watching them rebuild it. But this time it was different. I wasn't alone. I was with two of my new friends from school. It took a fire for me to stop focusing on my feelings of insecurity and open up to all the wonderful people around me. That means it was due to the fire in his house that he realized that he should come out of that feeling of insecurity which he had when he had joined the new school. He was feeling so insecure, he was feeling so isolated, so lonely. But the fire in his house helped him to come out of that sense of insecurity and open up the world to wonderful people. Because of the fire in his house, he was able to become friendly with new people. He met new schoolmates, he met new people around him, and he completely changed his world. Now I was sitting there watching my house being rebuilt when I realized my life was doing the same thing. The house was rebuilt and he found that he was rebuilding his life as well, because now there were new companions in his life, there were new clothes for him, everything was new. The house was being rebuilt, a new house. So there was not only the house which was coming up as a new house, but he found that many new things were happening in his life also. While we sat there on the curb planning my new bedroom, I heard someone walk up to me from behind and say, "Does this belong to you?" When I turned around to see who it was, I couldn't believe my eyes. Can you guess who was there? The cat. A woman was standing there holding my cat. I leapt up and grabbed her out of the woman's arms. I held her close to me. I held her close to me and cried into that beautiful orange fur. She purred happily. My friends were hugging me, hugging the cat, and jumping around. Apparently, my cat had been so freaked by the fire that she ran over a mile away. So what did the cat do? The cat was so much frightened by the fire that seeing the fire, it had ran over a mile away. Her collar had our phone number on it, but our phones had been destroyed and disconnected